أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear student, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Dear student, it's our 11th lecture on Porter X-ray diffraction of course X-ray diffraction techniques, and the course code is CAM 5134. The key concepts of our today lectures are microfocus X-ray tube, including solid anode tubes, metal jet anode tubes. Then we will discuss thermionic emission, Anderson effect, and for further explanation, we will see different videos for thermionic emission, factor affecting the rate of thermionic emission, and Anderson effect. Then we will discuss X-ray fluorescence, Brahms-Strulung X-ray generation, and in the last of our today lecture we will discuss Kramer's law. Now we will discuss microfocus X-ray tube. Some X-ray examinations such as non-destructive testing and 3D microtomography need very high resolution images and therefore require X-ray tubes that can generate very small focal spot sizes, typically below 50 micrometer in diameter. These tubes are called microfocus X-ray tubes. There are two basic types of microfocus X-ray tubes: solid anode tubes and metal jet anode tubes. First, solid anode microfocus X-ray tubes. These are in principle very similar to the Coolidge tube, but with the important distinction that care has been taken to be able to focus the electron beam into a very small spot on the anode. Many microfocus X-ray sources operate with focus spots in the range 5 to 20 micrometer, but in the extreme cases, spots smaller than 1 micrometer may be produced. The major drawback of solid anode microfocus X-ray tubes is the very low power they operate at. In order to avoid melting of the anode, the electron beam power density must be below a maximum value. This value is somewhere in the range 0.4 to 0.8 W micrometer per, depending on the anode material. This means that a solid anode microfocus source with the 10 micrometer electron beam focus can operate at a power in the range 4 to 8 watt. And the second one is metal jet anode microfocus X-ray tubes. In metal jet anode microfocus X-ray tubes, the solid metal anode is replaced with the jet of liquid metal, which acts as the electron beam target. The advantage of the metal jet anode is that the maximum electron beam power density is significantly increased. Values in the range 3 to 6 W per micrometer have been reported for different anode material like gallium and tin. In the case with a 10 micrometer electron beam focus, a metal jet anode microfocus X-ray source may operate at 30 to 60 watt. The major benefit of the increased power density level for the metal jet X-ray tube is the possibility to operate with a smaller focal spot, say 5 micrometer, to increase image resolution and at the same time acquire the image faster since the power is higher, mean 15 to 30 watt, than for solid anode tube with 10 micrometer focal spots. And now what is thermionic emission? Thermionic emission is the thermally induced flow of charge carriers, mean electrons or ions, from a surface or over a potential energy barrier. This occurs because the thermal energy given to the carrier overcomes the work function, mean energy, of the material. The charge carriers can be electron or ions. The classical example of thermionic emission is the emission of electrons from a hot cathode into a vacuum, also known as thermal electron emission or the Edison effect. In a vacuum tube, the hot cathode can be a metal filament, a coated metal filament, or a separate structure of metal or carbides or borides of transition metals. Vacuum emission from metals tend to become significant only for temperatures over 1000 Kelvin, mean 730 degree. The term thermionic emission is now also used to refer to any thermally excited charge emission process, even when the charge is emitted from one solid state region into another. This process is crucially important in the operation of a variety of electronic devices and can be used for electricity generation, such as thermionic converters and electrodynamic tethers, or cooling. The magnitude of the charge flow increases dramatically with increasing temperature. And now what is Edison effect? The Edison effect was the name given to a phenomenon that Edison observed in 1875 and refined later in 1883 while he was trying to improve his new incandescent lamp. The fact was that in a vacuum, electrons flow from a heated element like an incandescent lamp filament to a cooler metal plate. Edison saw no special value in the effect, but he patented it anyway. Edison patented everything in sight. Today we call the effect by the more descriptive term thermionic emission. Now the Edison effect has an interesting features. The electron can flow only one way from the hot element to the cool plate, but never the other way, just like the water flow through a check valve. Today we call devices that let electricity flow only one way diodes. Here is electron flow and here no current. The Anderson effect in a diode tube as shown in this diagram. The diode tube is connected in two configurations. One has a flow of electron and the other does not. Note that the arrows represent electron current, not conventional current. And what is conventional current? It is an electric current which is the rate of flow of electric charge past a point or region. An electric current is said to exist when there is a net flow of electric charge through a region. In electric circuits, this charge is often carried by electrons moving through a wire. It can also be carried by ions in an electrolyte or by both ions and electrons, such as in an ionized gas like plasma. थर्मियोनिक एमिशन के लिए ये नीचे एक वीडियो दी गई है, इसको अंडरस्टैंड करने के लिए थ्योरी मैंने बता दी है, क्लियर हो गया। तो इसको अंडरस्टैंड करने के लिए आप ये वीडियो देख सकते हैं। ये इस वीडियो का लिंक है। डिफरेंट फैक्टर्स जो हैं वो रेट ऑफ थर्मियोनिक एमिशन पे इफेक्ट होते हैं। उनकी डिटेल जो है वो भी मैंने इसी में डिस्कस कर दिया है, जो भी हमने पीछे देखा है, लेकिन थोड़ा सा उसको देखने के लिए, पिक्चराइज करने के लिए आप उसके लिए नीचे जो लिंक दिया गया है यूट्यूब का, वो वीडियो भी देख सकते हैं। ये लिंक है। अब हमने जो एडिसन इफेक्ट देखा थर्मियोनिक एमिशन के अंदर, जो हमने एडिसन इफेक्ट देखा जिसमें हमने कहा कि करंट जो है वो एक डायरेक्शन के अंदर फ्लो करता है, उसकी फर्दर अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए ये उसमें एक लिंक नीचे दिया गया है, वो आप वीडियो देख सकते हैं। तो फर्दर आपको जो है उसका आइडिया हो जाएगा कि एंडरसन इफेक्ट क्या है। तो ये लिंक है यूट्यूब का फॉर एंडरसन इफेक्ट। नाउ व्हाट इज एक्स-रे फ्लोरेसेंस? एक्स-रे फ्लोरेसेंस हमारा 4th चैप्टर जो है ये इस एक्स-रे डिफ्रैक्शन टेक्निक इस कोर्स का है, जो कि अभी हमारा चल रहा है। तो इसमें जस्ट यहाँ पे आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि फ्लोरेसेंस क्या है, उसकी थ्योरी, उसका प्रिंसिपल, उसकी वर्किंग जो इंस्ट्रूमेंट की, उसकी टाइप्स जो हैं वो हम डिटेल के साथ जो है वो आपके 4th चैप्टर जो है XRF जो है उसके अंदर डिस्कस करेंगे। तो नाउ व्हाट इज एक्स-रे फ्लोरेसेंस मीन XRF? It is the emission of characteristic secondary or fluorescent X-rays from a material that has been excited by bombarding with high energy X-rays or gamma rays. The phenomenon is widely used for elemental analysis and chemical analysis, particularly in the investigation of metals, glass, ceramics, and building materials, and for research in geochemistry, forensic science, archaeology, and art objects such as paintings and murals. And now, what is Bremsstrahlung? Bremsstrahlung, from Bremsen to break, and Strahlung radiation mean breaking radiation or deceleration radiation, is electromagnetic radiation produced by the deceleration of a charged particle when deflected by another charged particle, typically an electron, by an atomic nucleus. Electromagnetic radiation produced by the acceleration or especially the deceleration of a charged particle after passing through the electric and magnetic field of a nucleus. This is the principle of generation Bremsstrahlung. ये आपका फास्ट इंसिडेंट इलेक्ट्रॉन आ रहा है, ये आपका एटम है और ये उसका न्यूक्लियस है, तो ये इसके साथ स्ट्राइक करेगा और यहाँ पे ये जो है ना ये चला जाएगा, मीन इजेक्टेड इलेक्ट्रॉन स्लो डाउन एंड चेंज डायरेक्शन। तो इसके रिजल्ट में जो आपके पास ये जो है एक्स रे जो है ये निकलेंगी, इवॉल्व होंगी। क्लियर हो गया? The moving particle lose kinetic energy which is converted into a photon, thus satisfying the law of conservation of energy. The term is also used to refer to the process of producing the radiation. Bremsstrahlung has a continuous spectrum which becomes more intense and whose peak intensity shift toward higher frequencies as the change of the energy of the decelerated particles increases. ये सेम डायग्राम जो पीछे हमने शो की थी, वहां पे हमने एटम्स को शो किया था कि उसके अंदर आएगा और ये डायरेक्शन चेंज करके चला जाएगा आपका फोटोन जो है। क्लियर? और यहाँ पे जो आपका है ये आउटलाइन वैसे शो की गई है कि ये आपका वो इलेक्ट्रॉन आ रहा है, वेलोसिटी v1 है, एनर्जी उसकी e1 है। तो जब ये यहाँ से आएगा और डिफ्लेक्ट होगा तो इसकी एनर्जी e2 और ये v2 वेलोसिटी हो जाएगी और इसकी जो आपकी एनर्जी आएगी v e1 माइनस e2 होगी और इसके ये जो आपकी एक्स रे जो है इसके अंदर से निकलेंगी और ये आपका ब्रैमस्ट्रोलिंग फिनोमिना है। Bremsstrahlung produced by a high energy electron deflected in the electric field of an atomic nucleus. Broadly speaking, Bremsstrahlung or breaking radiation is any radiation produced due to the deceleration, mean negative acceleration, of a charged particle, which includes synchrotron radiation, mean photon emission, by a relativistic particle, cyclotron radiation, mean photon emission by a non-relativistic particle, and the emission of electrons and positrons during beta decay. However, the term is frequently used in the more narrow sense of radiation from electrons from whatever source flowing in matter. Bremsstrahlung emitted from plasma is sometimes referred to as free radiations. This refers to the fact that the radiation in this case is created by charged particles that are free, mean not part of an ion, atom or molecule. Both before and after the deflection, mean acceleration that cause the emission. Now, what is Bremsstrahlung X-ray generation? Two types of X-rays are produced by interaction of the electron beam with the sample. Bremsstrahlung, which means breaking radiation, and characteristic X-rays. Bremsstrahlung X-rays are produced by slowing down of the primary beam electrons by the electric field surrounding the nuclei of the atoms in the sample. Bremsstrahlung X-rays are also referred to as continuum or background X-rays. The primary beam electrons lose energy and change direction due to inelastic scattering in the sample. Some of the lost energy is converted to X-rays, which have a range of energies from approximate 0 up to E naught, the energy of the electron in the primary beam. Bremsstrahlung X-rays cannot have energies greater than the energy of the electrons in the primary beam, so this energy forms the upper energy limit of the X-ray spectrum and is known as the Donner-Hunt limit. ये ब्रह्मस्ट्रोलिंग एक्स-रे प्रोडक्शन शो किया गया है. The primary beam electron are slowed down or deflected by the electric field around the atoms in the specimen. The part of the energy that they lose is converted to Bremsstrahlung X-rays with energies between 0 and the Donner-Hunt limit. A primary beam electron may lose all of its energy in a single interaction event, in which case it will produce one X-ray with energy E naught, but it is much more likely that the energy will be lost in a number of interactions in which small proportions of the initial energy are lost and an equivalent number of low energy X-rays is produced. The X-ray intensity or number of X-rays produced is 0, where E is equal to E naught, mean the Donner-Hunt limit, but increases rapidly at very low energies. This means that the X-rays produced by the primary beam electrons comprise mostly a large, almost infinity number of low energy X-rays. Although a large number of low energy Bremsstrahlung X-rays is generated, most are absorbed within the sample or the detector, and the X-ray intensity absorbed in the spectrum decreases at low energy so that the Bremsstrahlung X-ray spectrum resembles a wheel. Bremsstrahlung X-ray production is also shown here. The difference between two generated and observed Bremsstrahlung X-rays spectra. Although many low-energy X-rays are generated, most of them are absorbed, so the observed spectrum records a decrease in X-ray intensity at low energy. This is a wheel-like shape in observed Bremsstrahlung X-ray spectra. Many low-energy X-rays are produced, but the detector is not sensitive at low energy, so we observe a wheel. ये जो ऑब्जर्व स्पेक्ट्रम के अंदर दिखाया गया है ये वाला. Next one is Kramer's law. The intensity I of the Bremsstrahlung X-rays at any energy E in the spectrum is given by Kramer's law. I is equal to IP Z into E naught minus E divided by E, where IP is the electron probe current and Z is the mean atomic number. The intensity is 0, where E is equal to E naught, the Donahue limit, but approaches infinity as E approaches 0. Note that according to Kramer's law, the intensity of the Bremsstrahlung X-rays is proportional to Z, which is the mean atomic number of the specimen. This means that heavier materials like lead or gold will produce more Bremsstrahlung X-rays than samples made from lighter elements such as carbon or aluminium. Dear student, here is the end of our today lectures of Porter X-ray diffraction. Any question regarding to our this lecture or to our previous lectures, you can send me that question at my email ID maslamchemist@hotmail.com, and I shall send you the most appropriate answer of your question as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.